Hello, my name is Dalaney and I'm a senior at Seward High School. I completed my field experience hours at Seward Elementary School in Mrs. St. Louis's kindergarten classroom. I was given 2 kids to work with, Jax, who is 6, and Alvaro, who is 5. Jax has a developmental delay and had just come to Seward. At his past school, he was in 1st grade. So they started him at 1st grade in a 1st grade classroom when he came to Seward, but quickly transferred him into a kindergarten classroom where he has thrived much more. He loves pizza, Halloween, and Spider-Man. He often has to be told to be left Spider-Man at home because he will run around the classroom and pretend he is Spider-Man. Alvaro also has a developmental delay, but he is also medically diagnosed with autism. He does not have an actual medical record, but fetal alcohol syndrome has been noted in his paperwork. Alvaro enjoys playing with blocks and cars. So I did lots of activities with both of them, but I spent more of my time with Jax. We would start our morning by playing with toys and talking about the rest of his day and what he was doing. He often would mention Spider-Man, and then I would have to tell him to leave Spider-Man at home and tell him to focus on his work. I would then help him with his spelling and his phonics on whiteboards, and we would do that with the rest of the class. I was mainly there during writing, so I would write the sentence on the whiteboard that he would be needing to write, and then he would copy my sentence onto his paper. Keeping him focused was sometimes a struggle, and I would have to often tell him which word to write next and where to write it. Then with Alvaro, I didn't get to spend as much time, but when we did, he loved playing cars and blocks with me. He is a very emotional kid, and when things went wrong, he would often get mad. I helped Alvaro with both writing and math. I would also write sentences on a whiteboard for him, and then he would copy it onto his page. For math, we would use manipulatives to help him with his addition. He did not get distracted as much and was able to focus a little bit better, but there were days where he did not want to do any of his work, so he would just sit there and pout. For my 4 documentations, I did 2 pictures and then 2 detailed journals. So my first journal up here is about Jax. I learned a lot from working with Jax. The biggest thing that I learned from working with him was that kids with developmental delays take more time on everything they do, so patience is key. There were many instances where I had to remind him to keep working and remind him that all of his other classmates were working very hard on their projects. He's a competitor and always wants to win, so if he knew that all of his other classmates and friends were working hard and almost done with their project, then he would want to be working hard as well. Later in the future, when I work with more kids with developmental delays, I now know I will have to learn their personalities and their strengths to be able to educate them to my best ability. Jax had taught me a lot and was a super fun kid to work with. My next journal is then about Alvaro. Working with Alvaro was a different experience than Jax. Since he has autism, he avoided making eye contact with me, and that was a big learning curve for me because I felt at the beginning that if he wasn't looking at me, then he wasn't listening to me, which I found out in the end was not the case. He was a very good listener. There were times where he didn't want to do his work, but if he knew he could play and after he was finished, then that would push him right along. When we were playing, he once dropped his structure that he had built and started getting mad at me and tried blaming me for breaking his structure. He was confused and thought that I had made him drop his structure and broke it. I was confused at first, but then I saw that he was confused and did not understand. Alvaro was such a great kid to work with, and I learned so much from him alone. Here are my documented hours with Jax and Alvaro. You can see I only got to work with Alvaro twice through writing and math, and then the rest of them was with Jax through writing. So there are many challenges and rewards with working with kids with disabilities. Some challenges include being able to understand their way of thinking, keeping them on task, getting them to do something that they do not want to do, and staying patient. Now with that, some rewards are having a greater sense of patience, the ability to handle many different behaviors and individuals, provide companionship and emotional support for them, and you get to see their progress in the classroom and as an individual. So in relation to the course, I can relate my experience with Alvaro to Module 12, which was over autism spectrum disorder. After learning all the characteristics of individuals with ASD, I was able to identify some of them when working with Alvaro. He struggled to make eye contact and misunderstood body language and interactions, like when he thought that I had broken his structure. In this module, I learned that being patient with them and talking them through situations is the best way to get to them and build trust. I was able to apply these skills when working with Alvaro. Overall, this experience was an excellent learning experience for me. I learned a lot that I can take with me into college and into my classroom. I have never worked one-on-one with a student with a disability before, so I am very glad that I had this opportunity. I grew in my knowledge of students with disabilities and gained new skills that will make me a better teacher in the future. Thank you.